This is a Tape Deck podcast.
Hello, and welcome to We'll Run For. This is your host, Tom, and with me, as always, are Aaron.
Hello.
Michael.
Oh, is that me? Yeah. Hello.
No, that's somebody different.
And Diana.
That's so funny.
Or maybe it's Mike.
Hey, Mikey.
All right. How are we doing?
You know.
Great.
We're wondering who Mike is.
God, so funny. Yeah, Tom was talking about DMD at breakfast today and just started going something Mike and got like 10 minutes into the story. And I'm like, who are you talking about Michael? Like, who are you talking about?
I don't remember this.
This happens regularly in my life, though, because his other podcast friends call him Mike. And I got very confused when I actually didn't realize one of his best friends, Colleen, was referencing him when she would talk about him on the podcast because she would talk about her friend Mike. And I didn't realize it was the same person for like 3 episodes.
I just assumed you were one of those people that like don't want to be called by Mike. Like you only prefer like my name's Christopher, not Chris. Like one of those. Like
My sister was like that with my nephew.
No, his nephews are Christopher and Nicholas, and that's what she wanted people to call them, and then instantly it became Nick and Chris. Like,
it's funny because this podcast definitely calls him Michael regularly, and it's because when I met him, that's how he was introduced, and for the most part, that is like who he knows through. Like everyone kind of knows him from Team Shenanigans and through me. And so I called him Michael and that's what he's always been called. But if you go anywhere else with him, they all call him Mike. It's so weird. And even when he orders Starbucks, he says Mike sometimes and it throws me off.
Well, it's shorter for them to write.
That's fair.
Like, I feel like, it's the least I could do.
So I don't think it's a snobby thing. I just think that he had a really weird random moment when he told me he wanted to be called Michael.
I think most people, I don't know. I don't really have a huge preference. But, yeah.
So it's not
anyway.
offensive to you.
Okay.
Although I was talking to Anna Runs on Coffee. I was actually messaging on Instagram, which I never do. And I was talking some smack about you, Michael, and I was like, because we were talking about how she didn't realize that Ralphie from A Christmas Story was in Elf, and I was like, everyone knows that. It was like
I've never seen seen Elf. So.
It was like a known fact. Like when the movie came out, it's not new news. And then we were talking about how like she trusts my movie judgment, which I don't know why. But I said I still can't figure out like what you're gonna like and what you're not gonna like. And she said like she called you broken or something, and I was dying. Like I was. She's like, well, he's broken or something, and I was like, oh my God.
It's true. It's not wrong.
Okay, so just a couple of programming notes. This episode that you're hearing right now is actually going to be supersized, and we're going to break it into 2 parts. It's all about goals. It's all about 2021 goals, what we did, and 2022 goals, what we're going to do. So we asked for feedback from our listener community, and just like you always do, you guys came out very strong. So we are going to have a 2-parter. This first part, we're going to talk about our personal reflections on 2021 and what our goals are for 2022. And in the next episode, we will focus solely on our community feedback and all of your goals. So buckle up because we got a lot of goals to talk about. Before we get into that, though, what are we running for?
I'm just running for the pure hate in my heart for this time of year.
It is the worst. Like I we're going to get in a time machine. And this morning, I did the Holiday Hustle 5K, which is an adorable little race and everyone dresses up. But we were talking about how miserable and cold it was and how our backs always hurt because we run like scrunched over.
Yeah.
And Kate was saying how much she loved summer running and how she can't wait to get back to it.
Oh, me too. Yeah. And the worst part, it really wasn't like so yesterday for like we're a few weeks out now, but yesterday was 65 degrees. So it was like 45 today and windy. So it felt like 20.
It felt frigid.
The problem
this morning.
is the wind.
Yeah.
I'm good with like cold weather running. It's just the
wind.
The wind is the problem. And we were running around a river where like it's just
wide
open and it like whips around. And so Michael's hatred for the weather came out within like less than a mile and a half, and he was super cranky.
I was so over it. Plus, I was a little tired because I ran 15 yesterday, so I was like, just kind of over it anyway. I was like, let's see, I ran 15 yesterday. It was beautiful out. Now I'm doing it this morning.
And I think
miserable.
that's part of the problem because it was so warm yesterday. Like, I assumed it wouldn't be. I knew it was going to be colder, but I didn't think it was going to be that much colder. And we stayed at a hotel last night because we spent the night in D.C. because we were drinking. And I did not pack enough cold stuff, so I was like frigid. So I wasn't even like dressed right. Like I had a long sleeve and like a vest, but I didn't have enough. Like I was cold.
Yeah, well, he quit on me because we went to a loop. So depending on how I felt, I could quit also. But I was feeling fine, so I wanted to do a second loop. And he was like, "Well, I'm going to wait at the car for you." I'm like, "It's going to be like 45 minutes." He's like, "I don't care.
I'm going to be sitting in the car. I don't care."
He's like, "I'm going to sit in the car where it's warm and in the sun." I was like, "Okay, I guess I'm going to go out by myself."
Yeah, that's.
So that's how quickly his
cool
hatred.
With that. Yeah.
Came out.
Oh goodness. Well, I'm running for our beer advent calendar that we do every year. I don't know if I talked about it on the last episode, but we used to buy like a pre-made advent calendar, but we found like a lot of times it didn't have beers we liked or like it was beers we already had. So usually like sometime in late November when the Christmas beer starts showing up, we go and we make 4 of your make your own 6-pack and do a 12-pack or no, a 24-pack of unique beers. So we are getting through that, and yeah, I'm excited about it. We got some good stuff this year.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah.
Yeah, running on tap. Well, now they'll be done it, but they're doing their beer advent calendar. I assume they bought the pre-filled out one or whatever.
I don't know because they've got some interesting beers. I actually, ironically,
on IG,
as
they're doing
I'm
it,
like recording, I'm on IG scrolling through stories because this is what I do when we record. And ironically, that's what I brought up is their story, Beer Advent Calendar Day 12. Today's beer is a Kush. I have no idea. Style Police is the name of the beer they're drinking today.
Ooh, that sounds good. We used to buy the one from Costco. Costco used to do, and we'd have to drive down because our Costco's in Maryland don't sell beer, of course. So we drive down to like Virginia. And they did like a German beer one, and we did that like 2 or 3 times, and we're like, we can't do this anymore. Like, we need. But I know some of the breweries are doing it. I think like Flying Dog did one. I think a few breweries did one. But
cool.
Yeah, they've got like a pretty wide variety of beers, so I'm not sure whether I don't know. Running on tap, let us know what kind of beer advent calendar you're doing
in 3 or 4 weeks.
In 3 or 4 weeks when you hear this. Because I forgot. We're pre-recording episodes again so we could take a little break again for Christmas and New Year's.
So I'm running for simply this podcast.
Aww.
That's it. We'll share your feedback. We'll share everyone's feedback in the next episode. We'll share ours when we get into it. But everything about this podcast, all the people we've met, all the experiences we've had, all the parties we have planned coming up, the meetups, everything. I really love this podcast.
Aww.
That's all.
Well, since we're recording in the past for the future, and this is coming out right before the new year, I am looking forward to the new year and turning that calendar because 2021 was not great for my running and life.
In life, I feel like your life was good in 2021.
No, I know. I'm over
Yeah,
exaggerating.
that might be an
I'm
exaggeration.
obviously
Jeez.
over exaggerating. No, but everything about running this year just kind of was crappy. I actually, he started looking at his overall mileage for this year, and his is the lowest it's been in a long time. But mine's like way lower than his because I stopped running. Like he did Batona and he kept running like through the end of this year. I haven't really been running since September that much. So my mileage is really low this year and I'm okay with that. I'm ready for a fresh start. So, for this episode, I am running for the new year and a fresh start.
Sounds good.
I know. I'm excited to talk about these goals because I'm sure we failed miserably on a lot of them.
Oh, you guys crushed it.
Yeah.
I don't even remember.
Yeah.
So I'm excited.
Yeah, so we went back and listened to
The episode
from episode number 17 from the beginning of the year called New Year Goal Getters, where Michael created
Goal
goal
getter.
getters because he was so creative and thought it was so
You
funny.
were so impressed with yourself. You're like, guys.
I came up with this idea.
Because you kept saying, get it? It's a play on words. Get it? Get it?
So we went back and listened. I stuck in everyone in the show notes, everyone's goals. And we're just going to kind of flip through them real quick and see our years went as far as what we did and whether we accomplished what we set out to accomplish in 2021.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I think that's awesome. I'm excited.
So, Tom,
Yeah,
you were going to do your first trail race.
I did.
I remember. And you weren't allowed to have like a cheer squad, so I couldn't even come.
That was weird.
Because it was
Aw.
like right in,
Yeah.
it was still like COVID. So
Oh, yeah, that was
Yeah.
early on.
It was
Yeah,
weird.
it was before the vaccine came out.
because
So, yeah.
I pretend like I don't. I did go back and I listened to this episode just in the car yesterday and was kind of like paying attention to some of the goals. But we were still talking about like our race is going to happen this year. I don't know.
Yeah,
We're
yes.
optimistic.
I know there was a lot of that. Yeah.
Yeah.
There was a lot of that. I was like, oh, God.
Yeah, and goal setting for me was really hard because at the time I still felt like we had no idea what races were going to come back, and now
All
that
yeah.
now that we're kind of through the year and we've seen some of the big city races and some of the larger scale races come back, I think that it resets what we can think about for 2022.
Yeah, I think it makes it a little
Yeah,
simpler.
I
to
think you
plan.
gave yourself
Yeah.
an
So-
out, Aaron, because I feel like you were like, I don't really have goals. Like,
It's pretty much what happened.
Yeah.
Tom also had King Crab Challenge.
oh, yep, we both had that, right? Because we were both going to do it.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah.
And in part of that, I wanted to not feel like crap during Frederick, and that happened. Remember, I PR'd. I felt really good.
That's right. You felt great
I
at
felt
Frederick.
great
Yeah,
at Frederick,
was
and
great.
I PR'd.
Yeah.
Tom, you did your king
Yep.
crab. You were so excited.
I did King Crab, got that plate of a medal.
Mm-hmm.
Was very, very happy about that.
That's 2 goals
Yep.
right there.
And
Look at you checking off
what
your
did
goals.
happen was I had a meltdown during Baltimore and quit running. That was also
Yeah.
part of king crab.
Diana, we're talking about Tom. Tom, she's stealing your thunder.
It was one of each of our goals.
Yeah.
I know. Likely do a race in Philly or New York City.
Yeah, you had it planned, but I mean, then everybody had so much stuff planned that something had to fall by the wayside.
Yeah, that didn't happen. That's actually when we get to goals for 2022. I'm re-upping those 2 goals. So we'll see.
Well, I feel like for 22 though, you can actually plan it out. Whereas this year it was like just grab every race you can as it happens.
Yeah.
Because we don't know.
That is
Yeah,
like one
that's
of the
true.
first races I've ever deferred. Like
Okay.
like typically if I register for a race, I'll do that race. But like Philly came up and just the logistics, and the week after that was Space Coast, and we hadn't been home in weeks, like on the
Yeah.
weekends. Like I was just like, if we just defer this, so much stress goes away.
Yeah.
And that
Yeah,
was
yeah.
so that was the right move. So
Choose mental health.
choose mental health.
Exactly.
I also talked about maybe wanting to do wine and dine. That was kind of
That was a good
That
prediction.
was a placeholder just to see, if it happens, because I feel like like when we were listening to it, we're like, we had no idea what the second half of this year was going to look like.
Yeah.
None.
No.
I did say I wanted to do my first swimming event, which I tackled.
You got that.
I got that out of the way. That was good.
We were just talking about that, and I still can't believe he did it. Like, I'm so proud of
Yeah.
him. I'm telling you guys, like, when I looked at what he had to swim, I was like, I'd die. I was like, I wouldn't even make it to the first buoy. Like, it's unbelievable. And he had to do it twice. And then he had
Oh
to
my
get out of
God.
the water and, like, scamper over and then get back in. Like...
And then get back in again. Yeah.
Scamper over.
They did. Everyone was scampering because it was like
She
Rocky.
did like this. I know she did like this little wiggle while she did it. That visually, you guys all can't see her do it, but she did this little scamper.
Oh, it was definitely
Like,
it was
wiggle.
definitely a waddle. But no, I was happy that I did that. The reason I was really happy I did that is it really forced me back into the gym, and it got me into a good rhythm of working out and swimming a lot, which really prepared me for like the Baltimore 10 miler and the Frederick half. Like I was in much better condition, and then I kind of just stopped in the middle of the year, and so my second half of the year races all felt terrible. But like at the beginning of the year, because I was swimming, I was doing other things, I felt much better in those earlier races.
Yeah, you felt good at Frederick, right?
Oh yeah, I felt great. A couple that I did not do well at. I wanted to get my sister, brother, and nephew into a 5K. I just didn't push that hard on that. I would love to get them into this at some point. I didn't do an ultra. I'm fine with that.
Did you hit 1,000
I did hit
miles?
1,000 miles.
Did you?
I'm
Nice.
just
Nice.
over 1,000 miles. But I also did Rockin' the Knob.
Yeah, which was hard.
Which was kind of scary because my first trail race in Patapsco, well, part of Patapsco, but it was like on a fire road, and then some really, really clear trails. Like it was not technical. Like it was very tame.
It was not rocking the knob.
Compared to Rockin' the Knob, it was apples and oranges. So I'm very glad I did Rockin' the Knob, and then of course I'm signed up for that next year. So the half next year. So I think I did pretty well with my goals. I don't really have any regrets coming out of this year. Like I said, the second half of the year felt a lot worse than the first half of the year because I really it was just inconsistent training, that kind of thing.
Yeah, I think you put a lot into the swimming thing.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you only have so much mental energy to expend on training.
And then once you burn out, it's kind of hard to.
Yeah.
Burnout is real.
It's true.
It's real.
Who else? What other goals?
Diana, we already talked about her King Crab challenge.
Oh, my.
Yeah. She was going to drink half a gallon of water, half a gallon of water.
I bought a thing and used it for
right?
like 3 weeks, and then.
Okay, so Diana did not crush that one.
No, I did not. It was like a job drinking that much water. Like I don't know how people do it.
It feels like it would be, yeah.
Like I need to drink more water, but I don't think that. I mean, it should be. Maria says it should be a goal for me this year because she tries to hold me accountable
Drink
for
more
that.
water.
But so yeah, I did not meet that goal. Oh, run a 5K without intervals, and I did that.
Yes, you did.
You did.
You killed that one.
So
yeah.
proud.
I was really excited.
Nailed that.
I mean, you did that twice technically because you did it once on the treadmill, and then you went ahead and did an
official race
in a real
live
race.
race.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so that you could have an official one.
Yeah, so I worked and I did that, and when did I do that? The fall, I guess, September-ish. I don't know if I could do it
It
now.
was the same weekend as Rockin' the Knob. I think,
it was
right?
same weekend as Rockin' the Knob.
Oh,
Yeah,
it was.
yeah.
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 Yeah, it was the Saturday, and we did Sunday, right?
No, it was the
Yeah.
opposite.
Yeah, it was Sunday, and we did
Yeah,
Saturday.
yeah, yeah.
Okay, all right.
So
Makes
that was
sense, yeah.
good. I'm excited I did that. I don't know. I'm telling you, I think it's Orange Theory, especially like a lot of it. Like I've just been running it out and like really increasing my speed there. So I think my speed work. I actually had a chance to work on that this year and not feel like trash in most races. So
That's good.
So that was good.
Except for Baltimore.
Oh, my God.
Exactly.
But to be fair.
That wasn't in Baltimore, right? That was the one that was out in the...
that one was even
No,
better.
that was the Baltimore half.
Oh, okay,
Like,
okay.
The Baltimore half was the one
That's right.
She came and sat and ate her banana.
Yes.
That's right.
While telling everyone to cancel
their
all of
races.
their races. Guys, just cancel all your races and stop running.
I was like, it's miserable. Why would anyone want to do this? I hate that race. I hate it. And then as part of 2022, we're doing some dopey training, right? So it's actually not a bad race to do for dopey training because you can do the moron and get 16 miles that day. But I don't know if I want to do it.
Oh, yeah.
I almost feel like I would rather run by myself on a trail for 16 miles or like on, like the B&O trail than run that damn race. I hate it so much. I hate it so much.
Did you have 500 miles
I
this year?
did, and I did my little Sesame Street. I actually never posted a photo of it. It came in the mail the other day. So I have my little, I did my Sesame Street challenge for 500 miles for the year.
Oh, yeah.
And it's really cute. I should post it. And then my girls run every other weekend. So we did that for most of the year. It kind of died off a little bit in October when everyone was busy and traveling.
Super busy,
but
yeah.
we did it today because today was technically girls run weekend. And yeah, that was just spending some time for my mental health and running kind of for fun more than anything else and just getting out and going out and doing that. We said that we need to reinstate it, but now it's cold and everyone's miserable. So
yeah,
that's the
but
problem.
everyone's doing springtime surprise and dopey, so we're gonna have to do it anyway. I did not lose any weight or do anything food wise this year. Nope, didn't do anything.
That's going to be a familiar refrain. But
It's just
Yes, it will.
like I almost feel like it got more out of control than it did the year before.
Yeah.
It definitely did for
Like,
me.
Yeah, I'm going to go
It's
with
awful.
that.
Like
yeah.
I feel like I
Yeah.
didn't this year. I don't think I put on any more weight. Like I think I maxed out at the end of last year.
Oh, not me.
And then
Not me.
I have not done, like, I've not gone down. I've not done anything.
At least you haven't gone
But
up.
I feel like, yeah, like, I think it's
guess.
like one of those things where, like, I'll go up 5 and then lose 5 and then, kind of
Yeah,
just play.
that's sort
just
of where
kind of
I'm at.
playing in that area, but not losing.
Yeah.
Not losing anything else. And then last on my goal was to get my AAPTD certification, and I did that in November, which originally I was going to do it in May. So
I mean, it was still a goal for the year,
but yeah.
and
And
you
you
still
got
met
it,
it for by the end of the year.
my plan was
This
to
is
do it
true.
before we went to Hawaii, and then I just didn't study at all.
Oh, yeah, I think that you even said in the episode that you didn't want to put like a time frame or anything on it when we were talking about it because so there was no pressure on it.
So I did it, and I just
So it's
registered.
probably better that you did it.
Well, it's funny because I did register because you have to register for like a time frame, and then you sign up for a date within that time frame. And I literally took it on the last day possible for the time frame I signed up for. Like I was like, oh, I have to take it today.
Whoops.
But it was really hard. When I hit submit, I yelled into Tom because he was in the other room. I was like, I just failed that test. And then I passed.
Oh, God.
But I was convinced I failed. I was like, that was so hard.
Oh, it doesn't like tell you immediately.
No, well, I got an email like 2 minutes later or something.
Okay.
But when I hit
Okay.
submit, it didn't tell me. And it was super intense because they don't have testing centers really open now. So when I logged in to do it, I had to take photos of everywhere around me and then send that like behind me, to the left of me, to the right of me, to the front of me, like where my laptop is. And then when the guy came on as my proctor, he made me like pick my laptop up and like show him what was around me. And then even like halfway through the test, I was wearing like a hoodie, and I had like rolled my sleeves down, so like my smartwatch was out, and I got like pinged during my assessment that was like, you have to take your watch off and put it where you can't get to it. So it was like intense, like, and so then I was like stressed like the whole time.
Oh my God.
Man.
So, but yeah, I did it. I think I'm going to wait a couple years because I did the associates because of my professional development credits, but I just started a new job, so I think this year I'm just going to focus like on my new role and then go for the next level of certification, maybe 2023. So
awesome.
yeah, I did okay with my goals this year.
Yeah.
I feel like you did pretty well. I mean, the big ones.
Yeah, the big ones.
I feel like the big ones you did really well with. It's this, the food and the water. But I feel like everyone's got food and water issues.
Let's see. Of course, mine. I'll start off. Portion control, fail. Did not do that.
No.
I think our portions got bigger.
Yeah. All right. That didn't get any better.
We literally went and bought the giantest charcuterie board. Is that what you call it? Charcuterie?
Charcuterie?
What do you call it, Diana?
Well, we call it a charcuterie.
Yeah, we went and bought one of those giant things and then proceeded to eat all the salty meats and cheeses again for the second time in 2 weeks.
All nice and bloated.
Yep.
I'm telling you, I feel like if we go back and listen to Christmas episodes, that's all Tom and I ate last December was charcuterie. Like, that's all we ate. Like, we were just a ball of meat and cheese.
Like mummified by the end of the month from all the salt. I guess Big Woods was one of my goals.
Well, you mentioned.
I mentioned it. I ran it. There we go. There's that. I did say we wanted to have fun adventures in the beginning of the year, which we did. Mm-hmm. Did a lot of run hiking all over the place.
You guys did a lot of hiking this year.
Yeah, we did a lot.
At the beginning of the year, anyway. We kind of fell off of it after September, but yes.
Yeah, well, because we had races and stuff and travel. So, so the first 9 months of the year, we did a lot. Actually, we probably did almost all our climbing.
We were just looking at our year. Well, he was looking at the year on Strava. I had a little bit less, but he because he did a little bit more after, and he does a lot more in Orange Theory.
I haven't been putting that in.
Oh, you haven't?
No.
He has 78,000 feet of elevation this year in total.
Most of that was probably from January to August.
Yeah.
How tall is Everest?
29,000 feet, something like that.
Yeah, I don't know.
29 and change, I think.
Wow.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, so we did a lot of climbing in the beginning of the year, early on. Say from March. Well, even in February, we were out in the snow with our cleats and all.
Yes.
Yeah, we did that. Yeah.
29,032 feet.
Is Mount
Yeah,
Everest.
you guys were doing a ton of stuff where you were out in the snow and the ice, and I was like, what the hell are they doing?
God, it's a good question.
That
I
was
won't
actually
be doing
fun.
It was. I'm not sure that I would have fun right now, just also because I'm not in the same mental space as I was then.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean.
Yeah, no, for sure. Let's see. I had a 50K or 50 miler between June and September. Actually, we did Cowbone, which we did. I did 40 some miles.
That was in May.
Yeah. Which was, that was fun. It was muddy and crazy, but it was fun. And then we did Grand Canyon, which kind of popped up and we decided to do. While we didn't do rim to rim to rim, we did rim to rim and
almost died.
Yeah. And almost died in the hottest time of year.
Just.
So I'll take those as wins. We lived, so that's a win. And then, of course, there was the fall race failure. Had a 100K or timed race on there. Actually, we did Labor Pains, which went fine. I ran 30 miles, but I wasn't a goal race, so that was just a warm up for Batona and Rockin' the Knob, both of which I failed. So fall was a failure. The fall failures was my story.
The sad sack video. I feel like the sad sack video defines our years.
We'll live on forever.
It defines our years of podcast. Honestly,
I feel like our goals were much more vague, and you guys had actually sat down and wrote specific goals down.
We did SMART goals per the HR training I do for a living.
Yes. Yeah, we on the other hand were maybe. Listening back, I was like, wow, I really, in the show notes, I must have not even put anything. We did talk about my destination 40th when
Which happened.
Tom mentioned Wine and Dine. I had mentioned that maybe I'd do that, but
And we ended up doing
doing Space Coast. My other idea for my 40th was that I wanted to run 40 miles with everyone joining in at some point. That did not happen. I did say that either that or just run 40 on my own, which also did not happen. And I was nowhere near in shape to be able to do 40 miles for my 40th, which slightly disappointed me that I wasn't in a place mentally or physically to do that. But life happens. Maintain base miles of 30 to 40 miles a week. I mean, I did that through, because I went back and looked real quick. I did that through like September.
And then it just,
and then literally I went downhill. And like the last few weeks, if I ran 10 to 20 miles a week, I was lucky. And like 50% of that was in Orange Theory.
Yeah, and I mean, I feel like that's normal. I feel like a goal of like 40 miles a week that's a lot of miles. Like, it's no wonder you got burnt out.
But I maintained that prior to this year. I had been maintaining that for almost 2 full years.
That's burnout.
not 40, but like 30.
Yeah, well, like between 25 to 35 is what my average had been. And I didn't feel burnout then. But I also just think I was also like, I don't even know that, because I'm physically not in feeling well. So I think if I was still in the same shape, or I felt physically like I was in a better place. I don't know. They were, at that time I was doing them, the miles all just felt easy. And now nothing feels easy. And so I think that's the difference.
It's awful.
Welcome to your 40s.
I did say that I wanted more adventure and more elevation. And so I will say that I guess I was successful in that.
Yeah, we did a lot of that. Yeah.
The elevation in, and I mean, you can't get more adventurous than the Grand Canyon and almost dying in the middle of it. So that was our goals that we put out there for last year, and whether or not we accomplished them.
I think we would get like a B-.
I don't know. If this is a performance review, I am a solid exceeds expectations, I would say. I'm a 4 out of 5. No, I think I exceeded my expectations for this year, other than in weight loss.
You also probably gained.
I gained a ton of muscle. I told last episode, my legs feel like freaking tree trunks. Like they are. Like, I feel like I could donkey kick someone right now. Like,
maybe you have to.
All right.
I feel like you have to take that into consideration too. Is the amount of muscle you probably gained also means that you lost some of it in other ways, because they wouldn't be equal. Like,
it wouldn't have equaled out.
Yeah.
My double chin's back though from a few years ago. It's making its triumphant return.
If you can't see, well, I know you can't see. Diana's jiggling it right now.
It's like, guess who's back?
Does anybody have any reflections on just other things in general for the year?
Well, I hadn't signed up, and I guess I did it in February last year is when I actually signed up for OTF. And I feel like that really defined my year. The medal I actually shared this year wasn't from a race. It was from OTF. It was when I did the dry try sprint, and I was the fastest person that did it. All right, let's be fair here. There were only 5 people that did the sprint rather than the full, but it counts.
Fine.
My name was first on that list.
Yes,
and
stop
it
it.
counts.
That's right.
Yeah, I get told this all the time when I try and make qualifiers for the 55 miler. So I'm just going to say that there are no qualifiers for first place, because first place is first place.
So that was
true.
me. I did it. That's the first time literally in my entire life that I've gotten anything from doing anything physical. Like won something. Not like a participation trophy like you get in every race. Like this was something I did. So I am super, super proud that I've done it. And I was even saying today how much it's impacted my speed and being able to do hills and all that. I think when I first started, I feel like my push pace was a 5 or a 5.5, and now that's my base. And when I'm pushing, I'm at like a 6.5 on the treadmill, and I can do it for like 4 or 5 minutes. And when I started,
your push is faster
like
than mine.
I wouldn't be able to do that. And then when I go all out, I usually go at like a 7, and I can barely hold that. But like I'm getting faster for at least these like shorter different distances in this speed work.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I feel like it's really,
Yeah.
and it gave me something to look forward to. It's kept me honest more than I have been. And, I don't know. I just feel like it's really impacted me, and my year kind of has been defined by OTF. And I did my 12-day of fitness in December, so I got my beanie. So I'm really excited about that.
Oh, there you go.
Tom, do you have any specific other things, reflections on the year?
I feel like this year has gone by very fast, and at the same time, so much has happened that I don't even remember that it was this year. Like, we were talking about like the virtually live race, how that happened earlier this year, and that was such a cool event. That seems like forever ago.
It does.
It does. Actually, when I even said it last episode, I was thinking to myself, God, I cannot believe that was this year. And that's actually on my quick reflections also, is virtually live race, because I just thought it was such a cool event. And actually, I'm kind of hoping we can pull something together maybe next year for our 2-year anniversary.
I think so.
Similar to
I think
it.
that's great. I think, as much as we can do that. And I loved how like everyone was running their own distance, and how we got like people were getting together. Like, didn't we have people like get together that hadn't really met before?
I think so.
Just hanging out. So I love that.
I know Angie and Anna tried to get together out in Chicago land to try and do something together.
Just thinking about this year, it does feel like a tale of two. You know, it's the first half of the year, the second half of the year, because during like the virtually live race and a lot of the virtuals and a lot of the uncertainty and the reluctancy to like sign up for anything because things would be canceled, that was all going on as like vaccines are being rolled out, and as that kept building, like the vaccination rates and all this kind of stuff, like more things started opening up. And then you were like tipping you're putting your toe in the water. And then I feel like everything just erupted. Like all of the big major races came back. Disney came back. Like a lot of these things just came back. So like the sense of quote unquote normalcy for the second half of the year completely overshadowed the first half of the year for me. We went to Hawaii, and I don't even think that happened this year.
Yeah.
You know, like, so it's such a weird year in general. I'm glad we are where we are now as opposed to where we are last year, and I just hope everything continues to improve.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess let's see. I remember Hawk Mountain, which was one of our adventures where we got stuck on top of a mountain in a storm. And there was a bear nearby.
Oh, that was the one where we took Connor, right?
Yeah, Connor went with
and
us.
We were so disappointed that there weren't rock scrambles. We got like, it was supposed to be like a 4-mile loop. We got through like the first
2 miles,
2.5 miles, and we're like, oh man, there's not going to be any scrambles. And then the last
all of a
mile
sudden
was like pure hands and knees. It had been raining. Everything was slippery. It took us like 45 minutes to do like a mile.
Oh my God.
It was sketchy.
Because it was so sketchy.
Yeah. It was fun though. Oh, you know what? It was a good memory. I just remembered running on the beach in February last year.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Because we were in Florida for 2
Florida.
weeks.
Yeah, you guys were like, that's it. We're moving to Florida. We're never coming back.
For the winter.
Like...
Yeah, we've spent a lot of time where the weather is warm.
Yeah, this year we did escape.
We did do quite a bit of escaping this year.
Yeah. And just a lot of adventures. And we had our muddy segment of the year where every race we did was muddy.
I honestly forgot about
run.
Cowbone. What Tom is almost talking about, where it's like 2 different
it feels
years.
like
Cowbone was Memorial Day weekend, so it wasn't even like at the beginning of the year. It was like almost mid-year. And I still feel like everything that happened before the Grand Canyon feels like more than a year ago, and then everything that happened after the Grand Canyon is this year.
Yeah.
It's sort of like how my brain is processing
Well,
that.
that's because it was a traumatic event. It was so funny when Lisa finally got to talk to you guys in person. The first time since you did it, she lost her mind on you. She was like, I could not believe what you did.
She lost her mind like 3 times on me during the whole weekend about it.
She's just so mad.
She's like, remember that time you went to the Grand Canyon and you almost died? Listen, I never said we were the smartest people in the world. She's like, who goes without a contingency plan? I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah.
We had a contingency.
It was so funny. Well, because people are like, thank God, Diana, you were like on that recap episode because you were saying what everyone was feeling. And apparently I held it in long enough. Like, everyone else were like, oh, they started yelling at their phones, like, before I had started, like, jumping in. It's a defining moment.
Yeah, I mean, the Grand Canyon was definitely a defining, I don't know, it's definitely a defining moment of the year for me.
Oh, we did the Five Sisters.
Five Sisters.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What?
Yeah, it's a trail where
In
you
New
do
York,
5 peaks. It's like 5. It's like I forget their names, but like they're 5 different peaks, and you can hit the top of all of them. It's like 5,000 feet of elevation.
Yeah.
That was our prep for our last big run as prep for the Grand Canyon.
Yep. That was up in New York.
Yeah. We did a lot this year as far as adventuring goes.
Yeah, you guys were all over the
been
place for a long time. It was like every weekend you guys were just like everywhere.
Yeah. It's been a little bit, because once summer came, we also wanted to be around a little bit more because Connor was going to be around a little bit more. And then this fall, we just were constantly traveling or going someplace that we didn't have time for that. So we've said that like come like January, February, depending on how the weather season goes, we'd like to get back to a little bit more hiking. So that's kind of on our 2022 goal list. Speaking of goals,
You should come down and we can hike Old Rag.
Yeah.
And I don't mean Diana.
Yeah, I mean, we could definitely try and put that on the calendar, although that's going to stay snowy for longer than anything even around us.
Oh, no, we can't do it when
at?
there's snow.
That's Shenandoah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so that's
Well, it
you're
hasn't snowed
probably
yet, so don't worry.
Well, that's true. We could do it as long as there's no snow in the forecast for Virginia for a little bit. You can get that in, but once that snow comes, it won't be gone probably till April.
Are you explaining to me how snow works?
Yeah, you need to, because I don't get
It's
it.
fine.
I just assume mountains have snow all the time.
No. And to be fair, I've only done it in the summer.
It sucks though, because like that's the thing, like that's what stopped us at the beginning of this year was that we were going like December beginning of January we were going up to Tammany regularly, and then that first snowfall hit and it wrecked it for like 2 months, like because the dark side of the mountain, the
Shady side.
the shady side of the mountain, just it doesn't melt, like it just stays.
Yeah.
And so like even like 2 months later, we tried to go up there and it was still icy, even though it hadn't really snowed much more.
Oh, thank you. Do we want to talk about 2022?
Kind of started out with saying that one of my goals is to adventure again a little bit more at the beginning of the year, since we've kind of dwindled on that. My first goal though, is I have a doctor's appointment on like December 5th, right before marathon weekend. I need to get for my mental health, and physical health. But part of my mental health is knowing that I'm physically okay.
Okay.
Because I've struggled a lot this year. And so I want to get some blood work done. I want to have my thyroid checked. I want to have just an overall health assessment kind of done to try and figure out whether or not some of what I've been feeling might be something that could be like solved by like low iron or high iron, or something in my diet, or something that that's just changed with me physically, because not because I'm 40, but because I'm getting a little older and our bodies change. So I do have that. That's like first on my list of things to do in 2022 is to go to the doctor. It's been years since I've had just a physical. So that's not really running related, but
it is
more both physical and mental health is involved in that. So that's my first big goal.
It's a good goal. It's a good goal that I should absolutely steal.
Yeah. You need to go to the doctor.
That's noted, and I agree. And we will take that offline.
Yeah, I actually need to find a new doctor because mine retired. Although I'm kind of glad because
that sucks.
She was not super supportive. So
there you go.
So that's sort of been my issue, right? Is I don't want a doctor who's just going to be like, well, A, you're getting older, and this is just what happens, and B, you just got to stop running because maybe you're just getting too old to run. Like those aren't like, I want a doctor who's going to listen to what I have to say, listen to my concerns, and actually treat me as a human.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And like as a person who knows their body well enough to know that it's not well right now.
There you go.
That's a challenge.
Yeah.
Kind of depending on how that goes. I already have a lot of races on the calendar, guys. We're going to do Shamrock. We're going to do Big Woods. And the newest race on my calendar is Big Sur. Well, the race that I'm not repeating is Big Sur. I'm very excited to go out to California for my very first trip to California and do Big Sur, which has been on my bucket list forever and was a goal for 2020, which did not happen. So it is now on my 22 bucket list.
That's awesome.
And then I'm going to do Rocking the Knob half marathon.
Oh.
We're not going marathon.
Either of you.
I don't know yet.
Okay.
I'm not doing it because one, I would like to possibly, if Tom allows me, walk with him. And two, my big goal for the year, I'm putting it out there in the world. We are planning to sign up for the Javelina 100.
Woo!
In October.
Giddy up.
It's either the end of October, last weekend in October, or the first weekend in November. They haven't announced the date yet. It's always surrounding Halloween. It's by Aravipa, who is a world-class race directing team. It's like a party course, and I've been trying to get everyone, like, I think I might have Bill Taylor. Maria says she's going to come do. There's a night race that's like literally a party. It's like a rave. It's a 20-miler. It's not like, and you have like 9 hours or something stupid to do 20 miles. It's a trail race, but it's everyone dresses in costumes and glow stuff, and they have a big rave at the halfway aid station where like they have rave music and party and glow sticks and like all kinds of like crazy DJ stuff happening. So it's like a big party. So I've been trying to convince people that they should come crew and or do the night race.
Oh, fun.
And just have a big old party.
And where is it located?
Out in Arizona.
Oh, okay.
Near outside of Phoenix, I believe.
It's Amy Chase said, I think that her and Jason said that it was about 40 minutes from where they live. So, and they're sort of close to outside of Phoenix.
Gotcha.
I got Susanna by sending her the costume pictures. She's like, damn it, this looks like so much fun. So that's my big goal for the year. We'll see how the year progresses. Obviously, some of that's kind of dependent on how the doctor's appointment goes.
Yeah.
So, and then my other smaller goal, which is a Disney proof of time, which means that I'd actually have to work on speed work because I'd have to get back down to like sub 2 shape. And that feels like really difficult right now. I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to get that one, but I'd like to add in a maybe April-May race to try and get a Disney proof of time. So starting in like end of February, beginning of March, I'd be adding in some very specific speed work for that.
Yeah.
So I'm going to take January as a down month and then start back up in February.
No, I think that's good.
Who else has got goals?
I can jump in because I don't have too many for this year. So I did a down December this year, so I can start fresh in January, which I've done really well. Other than Orange Theory, I did a 5K today, and I have not run outside of class.
That's
so
good.
Yeah. I've stayed committed, and even today we did it at a really slow pace, and kind of did a lot of walking, today. So I feel like it was a nice break to just kick me off for January. So like everyone, we've got a few races on calendar. I think most of what 2022 is going to be is training for Dopey, getting back into that. To feel better during Dopey training, I do have some pretty aggressive, I'm not going to talk about numbers, but I have some aggressive weight loss goals for like the first half of the year, so that in like June-ish, I can get down to where I was when I was training for Dopey the first time. So that's really my goal, is to get there so that I can feel better doing those miles, and spending my whole life running again. I hate it. And then with that, I do want to do a fall marathon. So I'll either do Philly or I'll do Richmond in November. So that,
that's good timing. Yeah.
So that I'll be nice and trained up for Dopey. Since we deferred Philly last year, I might just upgrade that to the marathon or do Richmond. I haven't decided yet which exact race.
I don't know how Richmond's crowd support is, or what kind of race atmosphere it is, but Philly, I will say that Philly is a pretty good marathon course, as far as like, there's a lot of support out there. There's people cheering the first half, especially the first half, when you're going through the main city. The second half, until you get to Manayunk has a lot of crowd support. Also, there's some libations and stuff out there on course as well.
Nice.
I hear when you get up that way. And then, so the second half has got a lot more quieter spots just because you're along the river and you're making your way up to some of the other city areas. But definitely a good crowd support kind of race if you're looking for something that's...
No, definitely. I am.
To get you mentally through that.
And I'll let you guys know which race I decide to do, because I could definitely use some company and some motivation on the course. So the more the merrier. I just think about like when we did Space Coast, how easy and how great those miles felt because we were with a group. So, I mean, I'm not talking because I don't think physically I could turn that into like a party course for a marathon. But just to be with people. I think will help me a lot. So those are kind of my big goals. Like I said, like professionally, I'm not going to do a certification this year, but I did start a new job. Basically the first week in November this past year. So I'm just trying to like figure things out. So I think that's what this year's going to be about. is doing all that good stuff. And I don't really have any other goals this year. I'm kind of like you were last year, Aaron. I don't have firm ones other than a little bit of weight loss and then Dopey training.
I was going to say, sometimes not having like specific goals though is kind of better mentally. I don't know. It was a little bit better for me last year. It's a good thing I didn't have.
Well, I think
goals.
with Dopey, it encompasses so much time.
Yeah.
That it's hard to throw other goals in on top of it, you know?
Yeah.
Because it's just such a big goal in itself, you know?
Yeah, and when you're training for it, it's like having a part-time job. Like it's having a second job, like the amount of hours you're putting in, so.
And like you can do other races during the training that are part of the training, but they're not like goals or anything. They're just part of your training.
Like at that point, even the fall marathon is just part of your training, not really like, not really like... Yeah, I mean, right now, all of us are planning on Dopey, right? Is Michael planning on Dopey?
I was told I had no choice, I believe, the last episode, if I'm not mistaken, or 2 episodes ago.
Don't you hate how that happens, man?
I believe I was preemptively registered before registration even opened.
Oh, yeah. So speaking of Dopey, I am actually going to do Dopey, but I have decided that I'm running it we went to Give Kids the World Village, the night of a million lights. And I left crying because I was so like
Moved.
just inspired by like the whole thing that I've decided that I'm foregoing even trying to register the old fashioned way through Disney, and I'm going to run it through charity and run for Give Kids the World.
That's awesome.
So that's actually going to be one of my goals for next year as well, is to be raising money for Give Kids the World. Tom, what do you got?
I'll start with the fun stuff. So, and by the time this will come out, obviously everyone will have heard our recap of Space Coast. That was so much fun. And so my first two goals are Shamrock and the Springtime Surprise down in Disney. Have fun weekends with friends, running, and just enjoy those times. That's it.
Yeah.
Because, most of that will be fun running anyways. But, I'm very much looking forward to those 2 weekends. They're really close to each other, I think. They're like 2 weeks,
yes,
2 or 3 weeks
close.
apart. Yeah. But yeah. First goal, have a couple fun race weekends with friends. Second goal, I have a couple halves that I'm planning out. I'm already signed up for Rockin' the Knob, that half, and then, maybe the Philly half that we're already registered for, and I'd like to do the Brooklyn half if that works out from like just a calendar, timing perspective. It is so weird how you build confidence in this whole thing, because now I'm just registering for halves, which at a certain point was so scary.
Are you talking about the New York Roadrunners Brooklyn half?
I think so, yeah.
Okay. When is that?
I'd have to look it up again. I think it's in.
Okay, just curious.
It's in June-ish.
Okay. Yeah. Just to let you know, when that registration opens, I don't know if it went lottery. I think it went lottery because it used to be like Disney. Like you literally needed to be on the computer and it was sold out within like the first 10 minutes. Just to give you a warning.
That's fine.
When I got in to Brooklyn, it was extremely hard. It was like 5 years ago. And then I think the next year it may have gone to a lottery system because of how difficult it had gotten to get into that race.
Well, I've done no homework. I visited the website a bunch of times. I like the course. It looks cool. Philly 99% sure Philly will happen. But,
Yeah.
I'd also like to do a New York race. So we'll see. The big goal is to register for and fully commit to Dopey training. Like fully all in, take it very serious, like you have to or you'll die. But yeah, Dopey's going to be the big goal next year. And then I also have a personal goal. I've never done anything extra hard. And one of the things that, is just always weighing on me, no pun intended, is I need to lose weight. So I want to set a weight loss goal and do it, the majority of it through dietary changes, right? Because we talked about this, and we even said it in that last episode where we were talking about our goals. You can't outrun a bad diet. It's really hard to outrun a bad diet. So, and I'm putting a number on it. I want to lose 50 pounds in 2022. So
Okay.
I'm going to weigh myself beginning-ish of the year, and then I will update as we go along.
That's a pretty big goal.
I mean, accountability, and even putting it out there gives you that accountability a little bit. So,
well, even Tom will never tell me how much he weighs, and will not weigh himself at all. So this is a big deal.
So yeah,
and we were talking last night. And you said your entire life you've never really tried to lose weight, right?
I've never tried. I mean, when I started running, I've gone through periods of time when clothes fit better, or I feel better, or I stopped throwing my back out while I'm just sitting on the couch. And then I follow people's weight loss goals, or weight loss journeys, like Greg and Orlando, or Jamie, or people that have really gone through these transformations, and that's all inspiring. And I'm I need to set a tough goal that I should be I need to be really focused on achieving it. So that's it. Very long-winded way of saying I'm going to lose 50 pounds next year. Other than that, I want to play a lot of golf. I want to go to and see a lot more live music. Just be happy. Meet new people. We've met a ton of new people through this podcast, but meet new people, reconnect with older friends. Just be happy. Be in a much better mental space.
Those feel like excellent goals.
Yeah. I only have a few after last year's disastrous.
Oh boy.
And actually most of them were pretty good. At just the end went a little off the rails. But I want to keep with the cross training that we've been doing. So that's nice. I want to keep doing that because that actually helps and feel better.
And we upped the ante for December and January.
Yeah, I feel like especially in the winter,
for a week. So
yeah, in the winter we're going to be able to keep up with it pretty well.
Yeah,
just because it's crappy out, and it's dark.
Yeah,
so it's the only thing to do anyway. I want to run a decent half and grab a proof of time for Disney, which I think is like a 155 or something. So that's not a huge goal.
Oh my God.
I think I'm still in pretty good shape to be able to do that.
That stresses me out.
I can't, I'm not looking for a PR or anything like that, but just the proof of time is fine.
See, do you remember when we had the conversation about the average man versus the average woman half marathon time?
Yeah,
Diana?
No, I agree,
yeah, and I said that Run Disney is
stressed out.
That Run Disney is inherently sexist.
Yes,
yep.
And that's why both of us have a goal for a proof of time. But Michael's like, he ran the 159. He's in decent shape. Do you know how much work I have to put in to get back down there? Mm-hmm. Jesus Christ, it's not fair. Sorry.
These are my goals.
I'm sorry. I'm just.
I'll tell you what's not fair is Michael going through his goals, and then you trying to take down the patriarchy.
Oh God!
And you're doing that at Shamrock, right? While the rest of us are all out there fun running.
Probably. It'll obviously those things are always weather dependent as well.
Yeah.
So if the weather's decent at Shamrock, yeah, I'll do it.
Okay.
You know, if not, I'll have to find something.
So he's gonna do what he did last time and run really fast, take shower.
I am definitely not running as fast as last time. That I can guarantee you. Let's see. Do you want to start getting back to our hiking, climbing trips again? Those are fun. And before we kick off our long extended training block to head to Javelina. So
we basically have almost the same goals.
yeah. It's just light goals this year. The only time one I have is the proof of time thing, and that's not like a PR thing or anything like that. So.
Yeah. Well, it would be a PR for me.
Yes, for you it would be. Yeah.
So.
Okay, so those all seem like very obtainable goals, and I'm very excited to see what we do throughout the year. Why don't we wrap up with something good?
So I just realized that I'm going to time travel into the future for my something good, a la Michael.
And then never watch it.
And then never watch it. The both worst and best thing I've ever seen, Emily in Paris. Season 2 comes out December 22nd. So by the time this episode airs, I will have watched it and just seen bucket hats all over the city. It's so terrible and stupid and mindless. And it's not good, but also great.
Yep.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, well, those are the best kinds of shows. We've been watching, the Christmas time movies, again, that we've been kind of into have been sort of that same thing, right? You just kind of watch them. They're really bad, and you still love them for some stupid reason.
Here's the thing. I like them to be bad, right, and mindless. The problem is they can't be bad and mindless and have characters that do things that are infuriating to me. So that was my problem with Outer Banks. Outer Banks had potential to be that, but I was so almost physically angry at the characters that it ruined it for me.
Oh God!
But I'm talking more of the Christmas stuff right now. You got the castle for Christmas or whatever it's called.
Oh yeah,
it's stupid and mindless and ridiculous.
The only thing I didn't like was Single All the Way.
Oh, Single All the Way,
it
wasn't great.
It was it was written by somebody.
Diana expected Michael to love it.
I did because it was bad.
Yeah, but the type of train wreck it wasn't entertaining.
It wasn't the right kind of train
It was
wreck
like
for him.
somebody watched Will and Grace 20 years ago. It was like if J.J. Abrams watched Will and Grace 20 years ago
Can
and
you
just kept
stop?
making Will and
Can
Grace
you stop
over
with
and
your J.J. Abrams bashing?
And then the only thing he
my
ever
God.
did was make
Oh my God.
Will and Grace
A
episodes
throwback.
over and
that,
over.
That is a throwback
It's
if
just
there ever was one.
Full circle.
Oh gosh. My something good is been out for a little while now, and by the time you hear this will have been out for more than a month. But I grew up as a Rent lover, a Jonathan Larson lover. Tick Tick Boom came out in November. His autobiographical life story. It's kind of what he did right before he did Rent and became big. After he died, they found the screenplay and they adapted it and they made it into a show, and it was reimagined by Lynn of a little thing called Hamilton.
Never saw it.
I'm on a first name basis with him, so I just called him Lynn. But Andrew Garfield as
Brilliant.
Jonathan was just awe-inspiring. And if he does not win every freaking award in the entire universe for that performance, I am going to be angry at the world. He just portrayed him so magically. He learned how to sing and play the piano for the role. He is just a talent and a half. The cast in general, the singing,
Phenomenal.
the dancing, every piece was just phenomenal. I loved every single bit of this, and it just made me cry and made me laugh and made me love him even more than I already did.
It was so great. I loved it.
I've not stopped listening to the soundtrack
yeah.
since I watched
Yeah,
it.
same. It's so great. Stay off of TikTok because all the yous are just crapping all over it.
I'm sure. That does not surprise me, actually.
Well, it's because, Gen Z apparently doesn't get how much of a big deal Rent was and how progressive it was, and are, trying to compare it to, now. What it should be now. And they also have all kinds of weird issues with Jonathan Larson because he is a straight white male. So there's some hate going towards all that. So ignore that and just enjoy.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that's the thing. The thing that what you just said that they don't realize is how at the time Rent came out, it redefined what a musical could be and redefined a generation.
And put a spotlight on these communities that needed a spotlight.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah,
and
I
so
mean, all you had at that time was freaking Cats and that stupid Angela. What was that garbage
Into
Andrew
the
Lloyd
Woods?
Webber show?
That
No,
was
the
an
one with
80s
the same song through the whole. Phantom.
Phantom.
Has one freaking song in the whole show.
First of all,
that
All
guy
right.
sucks.
Angelica Katz. I mean, that's what.
isn't this supposed to be
He
something
sucks.
good?
Yes, it is.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It is.
Andrew Lloyd Webber, not good.
Oh my God!
Andrew Lloyd
So
Webber is the
aggressive.
J.J. Abrams of music.
Oh my
What is
God.
What is happening? I just wanted to talk about my love of Jonathan Larson and Tick Tick Boom, and he has gone off the rails.
It's off the rails. Sorry.
Oh God!
All right, I'll bring it back. Something very, very good is a very boy band holiday. Look, we're still in the Christmas season when you hear this, or holiday season. Check it out. It's a good episode of television. It's a Christmas special. Joey Fatone, that guy Chris from one of the bands with the weird hair. The one, he's from
All right,
NSYNC,
how
right?
dare
NSYNC.
you? First off,
Yeah.
it's Chris
sorry.
Kirkpatrick.
Chris Kirkpatrick. We even get Bobby Brown and Michael Bivins.
Of Belle
Couple
Biv
of the-
DeVoe fame.
Wanye.
Oh,
Yeah,
my God.
Wanye and Sean from Boys to Men.
Who would like everyone to know they are not a boy band?
Technically, they weren't because they were probably already adults at the time they hit it big. But regardless, it was fun. It was so self-aware and enjoyable, and I think it's on Hulu. So check
and
it
there
out,
may have
yeah.
been a cameo by a Spice Girl.
Oh yeah, Mel C randomly appeared for no reason. But
Yeah.
hey, it was nice
Well,
to
it's
see her.
because she was
Good-
on
good for
Dancing
her
with
to
the
show up.
Stars this year, and she
I know.
sucked. She got voted
Oh.
off almost immediately.
Yeah.
Yeah, well,
they were probably it was probably filmed in the same studio, next door or something.
He
so she
got so excited when she popped in. He's like, this is the best thing that's ever happened. I'm like, what's happening? I have never seen Michael so excited over watching.
It was so fun because it was fun because it was self-aware.
Yeah.
And that's why I liked it.
Yeah.
I have one written down, but last night, whenever this comes out, but we went to see Ingrid Michaelson at the Kennedy Center with the National Symphony Orchestra, and we had really good seats. We were like in the middle, 3 or 4 rows from the stage, and that was just beautiful. That was amazing. Those musicians are incredibly talented. The conductor came out and he was feeling himself. He was like hopping around and dancing and singing along, and
himself.
and Ingrid is phenomenal, and she had 2 of her co-writers or whatever singing with her, and it was just a very lovely night. So I don't know where to go with that, but I had a good time. It was really good. It was really good music.
Are you telling people to go listen to Ingrid Michaelson?
Go listen to Ingrid Michaelson, but more so, just go enjoy live music, and not just like rando concerts where you get, bombed off Miller Lite. Just go enjoy some good quality music. All right, so we will be following this up with another part of this episode where we're going to dive deep into all of our listener feedback with your goals. So be on the lookout for that. But this is Tom for Aaron, Michael, and Diana, reminding you that some people want it to happen, some people wish it to happen, others make it happen. And that's from Chicagoland's own Michael Jordan.
Oh, God. That's funny.
All right, we'll see y'all later.
Bye.
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 Hello, and welcome to Will Run For Podcast. This is your host, Tom, and with me, as always,
And with me, as always,
Aaron.
are Aaron.
Michael
Hello.
and Diana.
Mike. Hey, hey,
Also,
hey.
Tom was talking about you today and calls you Mike, and I was like, who are you talking about?
I have this problem regularly.
All right.